Shout out to the God Turk, Supreme Clientele Radio. Diablo, SR the General, full blast the beat God. Graff Champs, yeah, Graff Champs, Graff Champs, yeah, Graff Champs. Shout out the 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 Graff Champs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tune in to Graff Champs. We appreciate the love and support for all the Graff Camps. The most amazing and iconic artists out here smashing it from the train yards to the rooftops to the storefronts, highways catching wreck. SR the General, he be going crazy, bro, from his Instagram account, Supreme Clientele Radio. Interviewing all the icons, the ones that led the way. Salute to all the fallen legends, the ones that set the stage. Moment of silence, let us remember those. Peace. Whether they family or they were friend or foe. Hate them or love them, let's show them some respect. Major contribution in hip-hop, Graff Champs to the death. Ready and willing, never scared to fry. Never. Chancing the odds of getting up, prepared to rise. Super talented vandals, never scared to die. Let's show them love while they breathing. Go ahead and share the live, share the live. So tell a friend to go and tell a friend. Interviews are dope from the start up to the end. To the end. Let's show them love and call it glory time. Repost his post on your post, share his post up on your storyline. We Graff Champs. We out.
Graff Champs, Season 2, Episode 16. Yo, SAR, before anything, we just want to thank you for sharing your time with us and blessing us. You know, you're a super legend, a GOAT, and we're ecstatic to have you here, bro, and we salute you, bro. Thank you for being on Graff Champs.
Listen, I appreciate anybody that puts the effort in to keep this shit alive because, I've been part of this for 45 years. This was about kids, kids creating art, ghetto kids trying to get the name up and letting the world know, I'm in your face. You got to look at me. I don't care if you like it or not. 1977, I was a kid. And most graffiti writers back in the day were kids. Like today, you have guys starting writing, they're 20 years old. Like they had the laws back then. You were treated as a juvie until you were 18. A lot of writers quit at 18, 19 because they don't want to be served up as an adult. You know what I mean? So things were different. But I just, I'm a fan. Before anything else, I like to think of myself as a graffiti fan and a historian. People use the word legend today, and I guess after 45 years, you get legendary status if you keep painting. And I want to thank my brothers here in Arizona that keep me alive, keep inviting me to shit, and keep getting me to paint, and get me to do what I love to do most. You know what I'm saying? And I've been blessed. I've been blessed in this graffiti game. I wrote with everybody that I ever looked up to. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, I looked up to Jester and Is the Wiz, and Satch and I lived on the same block. You know what I mean? So I give a lot because of the neighborhood I grew up in South Queens. I was 5 minutes from East New York, Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. Like all of us on the J line and the A line ran from Queens into Brooklyn into Manhattan. And it was a unique situation, to be in that realm, because you got to see the riders from 3 different boroughs on one line. And some of the best riders that ever came out rode on those lines, like Vinny, Is the Wiz, Jester, Lee, Slave, and I've been blessed because I became friends with all these people over the years, and I really I cherish my small part in this history. And if when I'm long gone, no one's going to remember anything other than the graffiti that I did. You know what I mean?
How did you get the tag SAR?
Dude, I was fucking 12 years old in social studies class, and my big brother, who started me in this craziness, was a guy who wrote Psych. And Psych, guys that were there, no, Psych started writing in the end of 75 to 79. Even though he said he quit in 77, he kept coming back. Psych was my childhood friend. He lived on my block. He was 3 years older than me, but we used to play football. I mean, it was a lifestyle. We did everything together. So when I started to get into graffiti, I knew how to do the letter S because he wrote Psych. I wrote the letter S, and like all kids used to do that stupid little S with the 3 lines, and you connect it and shit. So, you're talking about 1977. So I'm in social studies class, and they're talking about the king of Russia and the king of China. The king of China was TSAR, and the king of Russia was CAR, Czar. And graffiti is about being a king. So I was like, yo, that would be a fucking crazy name, man. So I wrote SZAR, and people were calling me Caesar. And I was like, no, it's Czar. It's not Caesar, it's Czar. So I said, fuck this. I dropped the Z, and I became Czar. And I can still remember that it was March of 77. I dropped the Z and I started writing SAR. So when I started writing graffiti, it was about, you started graffiti. I mean, I'm talking to the whole world here, but in New York, you started as an inside guy. You use your markers, your unis, your minis, your pilots, your flow pens, your Nijis, your magnums. You racked up Flowmaster and Marsh Ink. You went to the Art Cove in Ridgewood. You went to Gates Avenue, Gates Stationery in East New York. That's where my first place was. And then
Art Cove, baby, Art Cove. Yo,
bro, Psycho. God rest his soul. My buddy Joey Jayapluto, Psycho, took me and Psych and this dude that used to write Rust. They used to write with Psycho. Took me to the Art Cove. Got my first uni and my first can of fucking Flowmaster. And, I was a pipsqueak. We took the bus down fucking Myrtle Avenue down to the Art Cove back then. And then when I used to go to the M Yards with Risco back then, Psycho used to run the fucking M Yards. And he was like, Risco was like, yeah, I'm bringing this dude SAR. And he's like, I don't fucking SAR. Risco thought he was introducing me to Psycho. Meanwhile, I already knew him, but it was pretty funny.
So what was your train yard? What that you was affiliated with?
Well, I lived right off Jamaica Avenue, and the J train is where like Dondi. Well, I'm gonna go before Dondi. Mickey and Hurst. Mickey was Dondi's father, and James Top. Those guys were the Top crew, and Top crew ran the J line, and we never went over the Top crew. Psych, me, Rocky, Cook, all the guys from my neighborhood. Shark, Saint. We didn't go over none of the Top crew was like the J line gods. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Slave, James, Mickey, Hurst, Dyke, Hulk. Those guys were like the original Top crew guys. They ran the J line, because they lived right by the J yard. And the J layup was up the block from me. I lived on 109th Street. Me, Satch, and Psych lived on the same block. I was poisoned by life, you know what I'm saying? So I had to write graffiti. So, walking to school as a kid, you walk towards the train and the trains would go by in the morning and I would see the trains. And then on my lunch break, I would go up on the layup. They had an in the station layup before rush hour. And it was the first time I got to see trains up close. Like back then, there was no internet. There was no fucking books. There was no movies. There was no Style Wars. There was none of that. You benched. And the word benching came from these stupid little wooden benches they used to have on the train stations. They used to hurt your ass. You sit there and you'd wait for the trains to go by. And in a second, you try to look at them and try to invent style, create style. And bite style, I'm gonna be honest, everybody bit fucking style.
So you're saying that people used to be on the fucking train station on the benches, and as the trains went by, they're trying to soak it all in so they could develop a style?
Styles, colors, designs, everything.
I never thought of that. That's crazy.
And pieces were very simple when I started. They were very basic. You had some kickstands and some stovepipe arrows, but it was like, you did your solid color filling, your 3D, your outline, and then you do your soup ups, you do your flames or your cloud or whatever. But back then, when I was a kid growing up, you know, the most important thing was to write on your line because we didn't have a car. You know, you're 13, 14 years old. You didn't have a car. So you wanted to see your shit. So you wrote on your local lines. So the A, the J, I mean, growing up in Queens, in Richmond Hill, Queens, like I was close to the E and F yards, the J yard, the J line, the A line. So you wrote on those lines. And I was lucky because I was fortunate to live in that area where you had the E and F yard, Boulevard. You had the J line, the layups of 111, used to run from 111th Street to 121. And then the A line, you had the 104 Oxford, the 111 Greenwood, and then you had Grant and the A yard. The A yard, picking yard was the shit, man. You go in there, you had rows and rows of trains. So like I was blessed with the location and then the guys that I looked up to and knew. Like I met Iz the Wiz when I was 13 years old, 1978. I met Satch when I was 12. Satch introduced me. Well, funny story. It's a true story. All right. So I already knew Satch because he lived on my block. So me and this guy, George O'Malley, who wrote Nova, God rest his soul, he died about 7 years ago. He was my childhood friend. So we go up there to take pictures. Stole our mother's camera to go to take pictures of the layup. We go there, two dudes standing up next to the top to bottom spot, we used to call the bridge, you know. And he was taking pictures. I says, "Oh shit, there's Satch. Let's go say hello." So I woke up and Satch's like, "Yo, Saw, what's up?" And then the other dude with him, I'm like, "Hey, Iz, what's up?" And he's like, "I write CI." So I go, "CI." I said, "Fuck you, your CI stands for Crazy Iz." So he starts laughing, right? I go, "Bro," I said, "I started writing with Psych. You wrote with Psych. I know who you are." So Iz was like laughing at shit. He's like, they did a piece and they did a POG. Iz was a recruiter for a crew besides TMB that he ran after, he got involved in TMB. He ran with a crew called the Prisoners of Graffiti. Prisoners of Graffiti POG was Tane and Mad 2. And Iz was a recruiter for that. So he put me in POG that day. And I was so proud and shit, but I wanted him to put me in TMB, but he put me in POG first. But it's cool. It was like the first crew that Iz put me in. So I know him since I'm 13 years old.
Satch and Iz the Wiz, they're just so freaking legendary, bro.
Yeah, but
Is the Wiz?
We were family. I mean, it wasn't just about graffiti. Like they came to my kid's first birthday party. Like I went to Iz's wedding. You know what I'm saying? We were family. Like TMB was a family. Like Cisco was the founding member of TMB. The original members were like at AT, Cisco, Rio, Kaz, Iz the Wiz, Flea, even Lee from the Fabulous Five was an original member from TMB because it was from, that section of New York, the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And that's where it originated from. But I promised Iz I was always going to keep TMB alive. And he passed away in 2009. Same year I lost my mother. I keep it alive today. I have recruited a lot of new members. Sister's very happy about it. I mean, we're getting older. I'm almost 60 years old. Fucking it goes into 60s. Iz is gone. Satch is 61, 62. So if what we do has to echo for eternity. And if we don't keep it going, if we don't recruit new blood, like right now, I got a bunch of guys doing the freights at a TMB. My boy Dago, I want to give him a shout out. Got female members like Benta. I got my boy Zokes from Arizona that kills the freights. We keep it alive, and that's very important. Without new blood, guys like Charlie, man, Saw, you got to close the books. No, fuck that. You got to keep it alive, man. How many times I'm still active, bro. I must have probably did about 5 freights this year. I'm slowing down because I'm older, but I still get out there. You know what I mean?
And I be looking through your posts and just everything, even from the canvases and all the artwork and everything, yo, it just makes my hair stand up because it just reminds me of my youth seeing, I grew up to this. Y'all like fucking movie stars to me, and this, it was like the background of my life.
the way you feel about that shit is the way I feel about the guys that I still keep in touch with. Like, I recently hung out. I had a nice day. I hung out with Psych, Duke 9, Fade. Like, I was with Prime 79 and KR with the Mafia show in Brooklyn. And like Mafia to me, when I was growing up, like Don Juan was like a graffiti god. Guys out there, you guys got to peep the Don Juan book by Louis Gasparo. Louis Gasparo was KR. He was down with us with RTW, the Rolling Thunder Riders. And the Don Juan book, he was a creator, style master. He went to Art and Design High School in Manhattan. But like this dude, he brought styles that were like you'd only saw in the Bronx, Manhattan. He brought them to Queens and Brooklyn. And Don was like a graffiti god to me. The Mafia crew stood for the Masters Administration for incredible artists. Guys like Zephyr, Don, and Gear and Inca. They were the original Mafia guys. And when I got put in the Mafia crew, Don was still alive. God bless his soul. And like to me, that was like that and the Master Blasters and the Top crew. Like, I've been blessed. And I could push 100 crews only because I've been blessed in this graffiti game. I've been around a long time, and I met a lot of the legends. And I've been blessed with a lot of love and respect. Like, I had Part put me in the Death Squad. Case 2 put me in the Fantastic Partners. Scene put me in UA. Is the Wiz put me in TMB. Bill Rock put me in RTW. Cole put me in KD. Ghost put me in Risk. I can go on all day long. And I put up their crews. Put me in BYI. I put up their crews out of respect to them and my love for them as friends and my respect for them in friendship. But like, how many crews can you put up? And when I put them up, it's out of respect because of what those crews did and the damage they did and the legacy that they echo for eternity. Because tonight some kid could be 13 years old like I was and be watching this video, and it's about the longevity and about perpetuating the shit for eternity. This is the only art ever created by children. You hear me? And it's still alive. The only art ever created by children. And now all of a sudden, like when I'm in a graffiti show or one of my friends is in a graffiti show, I have no fucking jealousy. It's not, yeah, everyone wants to get paid, no doubt. But to me, it's like, it's good for all of us because this is a fucking art that needs to be recognized. People always recognize shit after people fucking die. Like Dondi was my friend. Case 2 was my friend. Their paintings are priceless today. They should have got the money while they were here. So is the Wiz. They deserve their recognition. And I will always be a fan. I will always be a fan of graffiti, and I will always be, an ambassador of graffiti. But like some people don't like the word graffiti. Fuck it. I sell my work not because I'm an artist. I sell my work because I was fucking SAR. And that's it. I was a fucking graffiti writer. I was a fucking thief. I was a criminal. I was a bomber. I was a graffiti rebel. And people want to fucking be part of it. They want to touch it. They want to associate themselves with it. But I just want to, I'll go on a tangent all night long, but I just want to say one thing. And I wrote it down. I posted this recently and on Facebook, and a lot of people bugged out over it. But like, there's a lot of people that use a spray can as an artistic tool. That doesn't mean you're a fucking writer. Not saying that you're not an artist. I love your artwork. I think your artwork is beautiful. I think your shit is off the hook. Shit I can't do. I don't try to do it. I try to stay real and keep in my comfort zone for what I do. I go out of my comfort zone, but I'm a writer, okay? But I posted this, and I think this will be amusing for the people that are listening tonight. And I wrote, just because you use a spray can as an artistic tool, you're not a writer. If you paint walls with permission only, no matter how artistic you are, you're not a writer. If you never painted a train, you're not a writer. And that goes for freights or subways. If you never tagged up, you're not a writer. If you never did throw-ups, you're not a writer. And if you never got up, you're not a writer. If you didn't write with a crew, you're not a writer. If you only use stickers, posters, and pictures and not a name that you owned, you're not a writer. So don't try to be part of something that you're not. This took risk, dedication, danger, survival. This is a culture and history taught by the kings, and you gotta respect it. Real writers know, and that's the way I feel, you know. And I'm not beating my chest, but I held my own, and real writers know.
Nah, you checked off all the boxes, bro. That's why we salute you, Saw. And you still here to let the motherfucking fans know you dropping gems that only real, like you, that only you could drop. Let me ask you this one question. Do you remember the first time you hit the fucking, the first layup, the first time you got it in? You remember?
Bro, I mean, you never, it's like the first time you have sex, you're never going to forget it. It was life-changing. You know, I was up on the station, and I was with this kid that wrote Saint, not Saint TMR, who was a friend of mine. This kid that wrote Saint that was down with the Beat the City crew. You're talking 1977. So I'm on the station doing some tags. It was a Sunday afternoon, and then Psych and Rock, who were my friends from the neighborhood, came up the carpet. Carpet, for people that don't know what a carpet is, the carpet is the roof that keeps the rain off the people when they go up the stairs to the elevated layup, the elevated station. When you go to the train station and it's an elevated station, you got to go up the stairs. The thing that on top of you to keep the rain off you. We used to run up that shit to get up on the station. So Psych and Rocky come off the carpet. I was like, "Oh shit, what's up, guys?" And like, "Come on, we're gonna go do the layup. You want to come?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So they took me out to 111 layup. And it wasn't the station layup that ran through the station where the top to bottom spots were. It was the one that ran from like when you get off the end of 111 station, went from 111 to like 113. So you go down the ladder onto the catwalk, and you walk out maybe a block and a half, 2 blocks on 50th Street. And then we just did insides. It was the first time I ever went. And when we walked from the catwalk, five wooden boards, you walk across, there's like these huge gaps that you could fall to your death into the street. So Rocky looks at me and he goes, "We lose a lot of good guys here, Charlie. So hold on with your dear life." I was like, I'm a 12-year-old punk. I'm like, but I'm going to be a man, you know. I'm a man up. I'm like, I ain't afraid. Fuck it. I walk across. I get between the cars, and Psych had a key, insides, and we bombed. And Keo, K-E-O, top crew, found the picture. I don't know where the fuck he found it, of that night. It was a SAR Psych tag he had found on the internet. And I was like, that was the very first night, Keo, that I ever went to write graffiti. That was like the summer of 77. And it blew my mind that it was on the internet. So, you know, they took a picture of somebody in the subway. I don't know who it was. But the fact that I saw Psych there, I was like, holy shit. You know, but Psych has been my friend throughout my life, you know, beyond graffiti. Like Satch is the Wiz, you know, we were friends beyond graffiti, and we were brothers. We attended each other's family function. You know, we barbecued on a weekend. We went to Yankee games together. It wasn't all about graffiti. Like when you were in a crew, you guys were brothers, you know what I mean? So it was beyond that, you know, and as time went on, and I left graffiti for a while. When I made a comeback, I came back in '88, and I met a whole bunch of other brothers that I became close with, Cope and Ghost. You know, me and cousin Frank, we did a lot together. We did a lot of trains together, and he's making it. Finally, he's making it in the art world, rightfully so, because he created his own. His style is just his own, you know? And I'm proud of all my friend, you know, beyond graffiti. When we comes out here, my brother. So is Cavs. My boy Paulie Cavs is ready. I just want to give him a shout out. He's getting ready to drop a book. His Cavs book, Cavs life story. Out of anybody, James Prigoff, who did Subway art, the spray can art, came to my house and reviewed my photo collection years ago. And James Prigoff was always the friend of me and Blade over the years. And Out of anybody I know, Cavs probably has the best photo collection of anybody I know. And his book is coming. It's dropping at the end of the month. It's his autobiography, but he's going to have, I mean, he painted with some of the best in the game. He painted with K2 and Scene and Cat and Satch and Is the Wiz and myself and Curse and Key, his brother, and all these other people. It's going to be it's a monumental book. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Cavs, he has a lot of pieces in if you watch the old school videographs, he has like the most fucking pieces that, and then in the old videographs, he's all over.
I was in videograph, I think I was in videograph 3 and 4. Me and Fuzz did a videograph, and unfortunately, we poisoned some kids. One kid that wrote NATO, and another kid that wrote Bruce, God rest his soul. And Bruce died very young, and I just feel like, I kind of feel responsible, like, he was this little kid used to come and hang out with me and Fuzz. And, you know, he was such a good artist as a young kid. We took him under the wing. And, you know, as an adult, as a man, I look back and yeah, maybe I shouldn't have influenced the kid to be like me. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. And my condolences to his family because they lost a good kid. Boy, I like good people, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. As a fan of graffiti, Bruce was one of my favorite writers too. His style, his throw up, and his tag, just Bruce. It just sounded crazy. Like
he was a Bruce. He was a big kid. You know what's sad? Like when I hear stuff like that, I think about this fucking 12, 13-year-old kid that would sit on the porch with me and Fuzz, and we were drawing his black book. And then I introduced him to Ghost, and he got connected with the Risk crew, and then he bombed with Smith, Ghost, and Cat, and you know he became a killer. We saw it. Me and Fuzz saw it, but I can't help but feel responsible for getting him involved in that. And unfortunately, he's no longer here. But shout out to the family, and you know, God bless your soul, Bruce. You were a real soldier.
And Ghost also, I think he has one of the dopest throwies in the game. He's one of my top favorite writers also. Like I really, really grew up seeing a lot of insides from, you know, I grew up on the L line and the M line and J line too. So
LLs, baby. That was back in the day when I was coming up, that was the boys. TB ran the LLs. You're talking about like Rappel and you know, Smack and Sarrow and Mint. Those guys, early 70s, they took TB to another level. Psycho, you know. But the LL line was the LL yards was a cool spot because it was on the ground. You know, I would do my shit on elevated layups, man. That was shit was fun. But you know what? After a while, you got used to it. You know what I mean? I got Tracy 168 texting me right now, my brother.
That's legendary shit going on.
People forget about people like Tracy 168. Without Tracy 168, he actually coined the fucking words wild stuff. Gotta give him his due, man. You know, if you don't know your history in this game, you're not shit. I'm sorry. I don't care how great an artist you are. You could be the fucking king of the fucking freights right now. If you don't respect what brought this to you, without them, there's no you. And if you don't respect the history of this culture, you ain't shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel.
Yeah. We touched on that subject a lot on this program with a lot of writers. Like we've talked about that, like going over like relics and you know shit like that, and not knowing the history and not even putting in the time to refine your style so you could be decent, you know, shit like that. Not putting in the basic, you know, work and shit to be somebody. The internet,
let me tell you
the same shit.
When I was coming up, if you went over a fucking piece, like I remember in '77, there was 1974 piece. It was coral pink filling, Fed purple 3D with a fucking black outline. It was an Uncle John Tiavini. It was done in '74. 77, 78, that shit was running untouched. You wanted to see it. You learned your history. You learned your history from the insides, really, because the conductor door would open up. You see a tag from fucking 7, 8 years earlier, or the posters. We ripped the posters down. You just, I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to talk from my generation. I can't talk for everybody, but like, that charged you up, man. You saw it. He's like, wow, they pulled this old train out of the yard today. check it out, man. The fucking Blade and Comet running on a J, and those dudes were from the Bronx. They must have caught it in the D yard or whatever. Like, you know, again, I've been blessed in this game. I've had friendships with the guys like Comet, Blade, Tracy 168, Case 2, Dondi, Zephyr, Is the Wiz, Fuzz 1. You know, if Fuzz 1 would have wrote one name, just Fuzz 1, he got up, he wrote Romeo, Prince, Lord. When the train would come into the station, you'd think he was bombing with a crew. It was him. He had like 20 fucking names. Too evil, too sexy, too horny, slurp. I mean, I could go on all day. And Fuzz was one of those guys that crossed generations and then came back in the 90s with a vengeance. I mean, this guy started, I'm friends with Turk 62. For you younger guys, Turk 62 and Checker 170. These guys are like starting like in 72, 73. Okay. And Fuzz lived in off Mashula Parkway in the Bronx, and he saw them going into the yards, followed them in. Turk confirmed the story with me. And Turk said to me, yeah, they call him Fuzz because he had a crew cut. He was like 7 years old, and they rubbed his head. They're like, Fuzzy, you know, and that's how he got his name Fuzz. And he's like, I want to do what you guys are doing. And they were like, all right. So Turk was like, here's this little fucking 8-year-old kid. I want to make sure he don't hit the third rail. Here's a can. And like Fuzz did his first piece. But like, you know, he kept on going. He crossed generation after generation, kept bombing. I know, you know, he did some fucked up shit with like maybe his book. Like I know he took deposits on his book and he never produced his last book. But you got to respect what he produced in the game, along with the other MG boys like Mark 198, Hit 17, Boots 119, Victor 161. You know, Heisen. These guys, like, you know, these are powerful crews that people forget about. And I just think whenever I have a chance to like reiterate or reemphasize the influence of some of these old crews, like Jester's The Crew, or, you know, Cliff 159's 3YB, or Partners in Crime, Sun and Pro on the 7 line, like, you know, Roger, guys like that, you know, that did so much that influenced the whole next generation. You know, as generations go down, this shit gets liquefied and gets watered down, and people forget. You know, like I say to people, you know, what did you do to make a difference? Like, what did you do to make like, what can you king today? Think about it. Besides freights, which I respect all the guys that do the freights. Like, there's nothing like seeing a freight train go by with graffiti on it. It's like a flashback for guys that used to ride the subways, or these guys like these guys that are hitting the clean trains lately. These respected architects, whatever they are, on the Instagram, they're killing the fucking clean trains, showing it. Yes, it can be done if you're dedicated. But like, people have this myth that like graffiti died when trains were painted white, or like, oh, the trains are graffiti proof, like spray paint don't stick to them. That's all bullshit, man. Like, paint the train, you'll see.
That's a fact. Let me ask you a question. So since everything was so territorial and shit, when it came to the yards and different boroughs and shit, it was unusual to see like Bronx niggas running hard on Brooklyn lines and vice versa. It was like unusual.
I you know, there was a lot of guys that were all city. I will give them the respect that's due. And then you always have the two mentalities: the masterpieces versus throw-ups. Have a million pieces running, or having, you know, whole car top to bottoms running. And I appreciate both guys. I appreciate. I was more of a bomber. I appreciate the bombers. I could do pieces like the next guy, but like, you know, there's nothing like going out there with a bag full of paint, just bombing a layup and just hitting it with throw-ups and seeing them shits running. You know, that's a beautiful thing. But like, I don't know. To answer your question, I mean, that's hard. That's tough. Like, there's two types of graffiti that always coexisted. Graffiti is what you are able to contribute to it. You know what I mean? Whether you're a bomber or you're a guy that does burners. But, you know, I think my era You didn't go with your mother's credit card. You didn't have low pressure paint and fucking luxury of buying fat caps on fucking eBay. Like,
not
I mean,
cut
I would
you
go
off.
into the fucking supermarket. I'm sorry.
I'm not to cut you off. I'm glad you said that because the paint back then was so much different from the paint now.
Oh, yeah, it was high pressure. High pressure. If you spray paint a dot on a train, it would fucking run down and drip. You had to know how to handle a can. It was a whole different artistic talent. I'm not saying I was talented because my first pieces were fucking runny, messy shits. But you know what? If you went to a fucking store, a hardware store, you racked a brown, 2 reds, a yellow, and a green, you made it work and you made it a piece. You know, you didn't have the luxury of saying, okay, I'm gonna have purples. You had 50 fucking writers trying to steal the same Cascade green, bro. It wasn't happening. You know, you never found Cascade greens or Fed purples in the fucking hardware store. You didn't. You know, I remember going on rack missions, you know, loading up. I had a 1982 Lincoln, and we would just drive it down fucking all over Long Island and upstate New York and everywhere. Hit every old hardware store we can, and we would once in a while we'd hit the mother load and be like, whoa, he's got like fucking 3 cases of pastel aquas or turquoises, like. But and then we'd be fighting. I remember me and Fuzz wrestling for a can of Fed purple in the fucking Stupid Boys. We're wrestling for a fucking can. That's mine. That's mine. So we're trying to shove it in our jacket and shit. But like now, you get your mother's credit card, and you get fucking, Montana paint. You got 14 shades of purple. We didn't have that shit. You know, and the pieces, of course, the pieces are going to be more beautiful today because if you got 14 hours to do a piece, you're not painting under duress. You're not painting on elevated tracks with trains running you over, third rail sparking, cops running on the tracks trying to fucking lock you up, and your fat caps falling into the street, fucking 2 stories down. You know, it's just a different element. And not that I don't. I'm glad it evolved. I'm glad it's easier. You know, I'm glad you have all these beautiful colors today. And I'm glad paint companies take the time out to see what we want. You know, there's 14 shades of green, 14 shades of purple. I mean, greens and purples, that was my passion, man. Dude, you know, we would. I had 1 Cascade green. I would use it over 3 pieces. You know what I'm saying? It would stay.
You saved some, right? Yo, that's crazy. Did you ever like run into a problem when you went into the yard, like seeing other riders that had to get it popping or anything like that?
You know, it's funny, bro. You know, I'm old now, old man. But I was a fucking big motherfucker. I'm 6'3". I was 240 pounds. I worked in a gym. It wasn't much that scared me, you know what I mean? I had no
That's
problem.
great.
Motherfucker by his neck. I'm sorry. I'm fucked up like that. You know, even now, I still think I'm 25 sometimes. Even my wife is like, will you stop your bullshit? You know, she's got to like get on my shit, you know. Like, you need to talk to somebody. It's like, nah, I'm good with that. I like what looks back at me in the mirror. You know what I mean?
I gotta pick your graffiti brain now. Do you have, who's your top 10 favorite writers of all time, or your top 5? Who's your favorite writers?
I'm a graffiti whore, bro. I love everybody. I can go on all day, but just off the top of my head, I mean, when I see a piece by Slade from the Fabulous Five, or Part from the Death Squad, or my boy Psych, who I was raised on, or Lee, or Jester, you know, I could see a Jester throw up, and somebody, I'll post it on my Instagram, and like fucking maybe 20 people will like it. I'm like, guys, you guys are perusing over a fucking graffiti god. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's so many writers that I've been lucky to be friends with, like my guys from Brooklyn, like Rebel, and my boy Sight, and, you know, all the Top Crew guys that I used to look up to, Mickey and Hurst. Okay, they changed graffiti. Okay, in 1975, they started doing Kill 3 became in. Mickey 729 became 2, T-O. Hurst became OI. Jester became DY. Is the Wiz I-327 became Is. Vinny became FI. Like, everybody knew my name, and it became these 2-letter dogs.
Why?
To get up. You got the Top Crew did a Rampage. of an all-city rampage of dominance into OI. You look at any old photograph from the 70s, and it'd be a picture of like a Mark 198 piece, and here's the Wiz piece. You'll see an N in the corner. You see an OI in the corner. You see a 2. They started the floaters that go between the 2 windows between the doors. The floaters, floaters of that little panel between the windows on the top of a subway car. They did the floaters. He 3, in 2, OI. I mean, they changed the game. And then all of a sudden, all these guys with these long names, 4 and 5 letter names, all started doing 2-letter throw-up names. You all incorporate. Even like Slade from the Farias 5. People don't even know. He wrote R.O. Like, you know, it just changed the game. It changed the momentum. And then people were like, well, what's more important? Like 2-letter throw-ups? Or like, and then even if you didn't like the 2-letter throw-ups, if you wanted to be part of the game, you had to incorporate a 2-letter name. You know, I did a couple of 2-letter names. I never really caught up on it. I did like, did a CS for Crazy Star, you know, and then I did BKs for Viking. Viking was like my undercover name that came later on in life because Fuzz used to say, "You big Viking motherfucker." He used to call me Viking all the time. So I started doing Viking pieces because of that. But he's the one who gave me that. He used to call me Viking, you know. Not that I'm proud of it.
No, it's kind of backwards for me because me growing up in Bushwick, everyone had the 2-letter tags, you know, and that's why I got SR. You know, it's a 2-letter tag, and then
My mom went to Bushwick High School. My father went to East New York High School. I get it. I know the neighborhood. I grew up in that neighborhood.
2-letter tags. And then as I went on, I wish I had like a tag that was a word so I could fucking stretch it out. It's like the opposite.
Well, people will bug out. I'm like, SAW? What's a SAW? I'm like, don't worry about what it's SAW. I'm fucking SAW. Like, I go on the internet sometimes and I see like, you know, there's a crew called SAW and there's some other SAW. Like people say, oh, you know, they'll send me something. Hey, is this dude, this guy did his like, doesn't matter to me. Like, you could do 1,000 SAW pieces on a train. People know me. They don't know you. Like, that's what bothers me about the history. Like, why would you start writing graffiti today and say, I'm going to write Vinny, or I'm going to write Is the Way? Stop. Like, do your homework, man. You look like a fool. People see that shit. Real writers know. I don't know. They're like,
it's a lot of niggas, like you said, that don't do the history and don't even care because, you know, OGs will tell them, yo, and they'll be like, who are fuck that? I don't give a. There's a lot of disrespect from the younger generation. You know, the 90s, we try to have.
But you know what? I don't want to cut you off, but one day they're going to be the old generation, and they're going to want to have their piece of history that they're part of this. And if you want to be a part of this, you got to follow the rules. There's fucking rules. There's unwritten rules. The rules that were taught by the fucking, okay? Like a throw-up goes over a tag. A piece goes over a throw-up. No beef. No beef. If someone does a burner over your throw-up, you shut your mouth. If someone does a throw-up over your tag, you shut your mouth. There's rules and there's respect. You know what? When you don't respect this, you don't get respect. I don't care how good you are. If you don't respect the history of this, without them, there's no you. You didn't invent this. There was 10,000 writers, you know, and this is another thing. It's a nerve thing. No disrespect, because I love Henry Chaffant, Martha Cooper, Jim Prigoff. You know, they took the time to document this shit. Without them, there probably wouldn't have been no proper documentation. But Style Wars, in the beginning of Style Wars, since 1982. This movement started in 1969. I can name off my head 50 kings that weren't even mentioned in that. And anybody that's in that movie Style Wars is an ambassador of graffiti. And some of them are my very good friends. Some of them bombed. But there were some people in those movies that did 2 fucking pieces and memorialized forever because the whole world had fucking DVD players. You know what I'm saying? So, like, real writers know, you know, there's people like Tracy 168, Chi-Chi 133, King 2, Peanut 2, Comet, They're not mentioning Star Wars. These guys were kings of graffiti. The guys did thousands of pieces. No record. Vinny never mentioned Star Wars. I could go on all day, but I won't. All I'm saying is Star Wars is a reference. It's a time capsule of 1982. But you got to remember, guys like Mike 171, SJK 171, Taki 183, Coco 144. These are the guys that are the first guys that do tag pieces. They did fat tags and did outlines around the tags and created pieces. Now they're getting their shine. They made the book, Wall Ride, and they're getting their names known to the newer generation. But without these guys, there was 10,000 writers that were famous before the movie Star Wars. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's crazy that a lot of people get forgotten or not mentioned and stuff. It is sad. It's fucked up. But like you said, real writers know.
Well, all the guys in Star Wars are making money today. Those are the guys, the people in Europe. Oh, Star Wars. Oh, you're in Star Wars? Okay. It's like a ticket. But you know what? And I don't have any jealousy of them. I don't need nothing in life. So I'm self-sufficient. I'm good. I'm healthy. I beat cancer. Cancer tried to take me out. I did not inoperable cancer. I was a big motherfucker, 240 pounds. I went down 100 pounds. I'm back to 205 pounds now. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I don't begrudge nobody. I just want this thing to live. I want graffiti is a living, breathing thing. If you like it or not, a train comes in your face, you have to look at it. All of a sudden, it's in mainstream advertising. I called Chino 2 years ago. The Yankees were in the playoffs. And the Yankee playoffs on national TV started off with a piece of Bronx Bombers. It was on a truck. Bronx Bombers. It was Chino and another dude that did it. And my wife is like, look at that. That's graffiti. I'm like, and I look and I see Chino. I call Chino. I text Chino and I go, bro, let me tell you how proud I am right now. Like back in the day when I was growing up, 1977, when the Yankees were in the World Series, you would have never seen kids writing the Bronx Bombers graffiti on a fucking truck to preempt the beginning of the playoffs between the Yankees and the Red Sox. Never happened. Never happened. We're mainstream, But there's a lot of people that try to attach themselves to something they're not. And you want your credibility and you want to be part of something, you have to pay your dues. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
So when Griff now the train era is going out of the trains are getting cleaned and everything. What was happening then? By that time you already stopped or
what happened was 1988. I never knew what style was. There was no internet. I wasn't on the internet in 1988. So I'm home, and I was with my first wife at the time. We weren't married yet. I was living with her, and I used to put her name in all my pieces. But I'm watching the Style Wars, and what the fuck? When did they make this? So I called up Satch. I had his number. I'm like, yo, Todd, man. I'm watching Channel 13, PBS. They got Style Wars on TV. He starts laughing. I go, bro, when did they do that? He goes, when you moved to Pennsylvania in 1980, started it, but they finished up in 82. I'm like, 82, I was in the discos, man. I was hanging out. I was chasing girls and, wearing my fucking leisure suit. I thought I was John Travolta. But I was like, this is bugged out. So we started talking on the phone. He's like, hey, I'd love to see you. Come over. So I said, all right. I went over to this house that night. It was 1988, and we were bullshitting and shit. And we went to the A-Lab and did a couple of throw-ups that night, and that was it. We started bombing. Back then, the highways and were very popular, so we started bombing the highways, and we started hitting the layups. Then we started looking up for all our old friends. We brought back Is the Wiz. We went up to the Bronx. We took fucking Quick and Blade out, and the next thing you know, it was like Florida was bombing with us. We hooked up with a lot of new writers like Ghost and Smith, and we were part of the Clean Trade movement. We went all city. We went crazy, man. Crazy.
Wow, that's a crazy lineup of crazy train killers right there. Wow.
So I'm telling you, like a lot of nights we go in the yards. It would be me, Victor 161, Cavs, and Boo. The next night it'll be me and Fuzz and Ghost. The next night me is the Wiz and Satch Quick. Next night, one night on my birthday, it's a funny story. We were at this nightclub, adult club, and we were having drinks. It was me, Revolt, Quick, Satch, is the Wiz, one of Revolt's friends. It was the guy that wrote Z Skull or something. I forget what he one of Revolt's friends. Anyway, and then we ended up going to Grant's. Go up at Grant Layup where the style was. And there's a big hole in the fence, and we started going through. And then the police rolled up on us, and 2 cars pulled up with lights on us. And I had a whole fucking shopping bag full of paint I put on the floor. So they rolled up on us, and they're like, "Which one of you guys got a gun?" We had somebody shot like 2 blocks away. So I was like, I handed cop my license. I'm like, "No, it's my birthday, man. We just came out of that bar. We were celebrating my birthday and shit." You know, so he grabs my bag of paint. It's like fucking 25 cans of paint in there. And Fuzz is, I got to give him credit. He landed on the sword. He was like, "Officer, I'll take responsibility for everything in that bag." The officer looked at it and he just like threw it like spray paint. He's like, you guys don't have a gun? No. My car, I had a Lincoln town car at the time. We were all in it. They patted us all down, and they just left us right in front of the fence by McDonald's, by Grant Layup. When they pulled out, Satch ran through the hole when the police rolled up, and he ran home. And he called my girlfriend, he called Iz's wife, and said, "Sorry, and Iz got busted," because the cops rolled up on us. Meanwhile, we went down to Grant, we painted fucking 10 hole cars that night. And then I called Satch the next day and said, "Bro, you ran. I'm glad you got away, bro. We didn't get busted, but you missed out on the paint party."
Do you still have do you have any like photo albums with all the pictures of everything?
I have probably like without exaggerating, I probably have like 10,000 negatives, and I'm in the process of digitizing them. Jim Prigoff had a book lined up for me. God rest his soul. He passed away last year, actually a year and a half, and he was going to publish it for me. But life gets in the way, man. I got a family. I'm like I said, I'm almost 65 years old. I will get to it eventually. My boy Cavs, God bless him, he's got the patience to do it. And when he says, "Oh, Sam, you mind if I use this picture, that picture?" I'm like, yeah. There's so many writers out there. I just want to say that there's so many writers that have photos. Like, if I have a photo of a slave piece, I'm going to give it to Slave. If I got a photo of a Jester piece, I'm going to give it to Jester. There's so many writers out there that hold on to their photos, and they won't put them on social media. They're like, waiting, I guess, to do a book someday. And I hope they all do make them, because we need to document history before it's gone. But what happens is, like I had cancer. I dropped dead. My wife's going to have this box of fucking photos. She's going to throw them in the garbage. She's not going to sell them to nobody. No, she's not going to know what to do with them. You know what I mean? It's up to us to, memorialize what we did and keep this shit alive. And I don't hold nothing back. You look at my Instagram, and I probably double, triple post shit. I forget what I fucking post, but I don't care. I probably posted like 7,000 photos. And I don't want them. I want them to echo for eternity. It's not about the money. I want people to say, "Oh, shit, yeah, I got this picture." Or this guy's that like probably download all the pictures I post. Let them save them. Let them pass them on. 100 years from now, I'll know they'll be alive well. And, like right now, all of a sudden, because of, I guess, my age, and not because of my artistic ability, because of my degree, I've had a lot of interest in my work, and I've been involved in the Tejan and Art Curial auction in Paris. My work's been on display in Europe and in the United States. I had a one-man show in Arizona that got a lot of notoriety in the papers. They actually just my gallery owner work in Tuscany and did that. But like, I'm not really politicking for it. It's just like what's part of history, and it's not because I'm a great artist. You might be a better artist. Who are you to the movement? Particular history and graffiti history. we were writers. We did each other. We did work till this day. Like I was in the Museum of Graffiti. My boy and Blade attended it with God bless Portia. We went to the opening and AIM, Soul Brothers, and AIM put me in SSB. Here I am, and he put me in Lanana. You know what I mean? But the Soul Brothers was a major crew back in the day, and that's it's like
you're chopping up a little. You're chopping up a little.
I'm sorry. Would that break up?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Wait. You're breaking up again.
You good? We good?
I can hear you now. You can hear me? Yeah, you good. You good.
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. Yeah. So, like, it's those type of things that make a difference. Like, I recently put some new guys in TMB, and these guys are killing the freights, and they're really artistic talent. Dago and Mert, they're killing shit over. Dago's originally from DEGO. He's originally from New York. He's out in Texas right now, and he's killing it. And it's about keeping it alive, man. And I dedicate everything I do for the artists that keep it alive. I'd rather see a ugly, drippy ass throw up on a train than not seeing anything at all. You know what I mean?
So at the end of the day, it's just like the train. The train is the number one. But you see, I grew up. The trains was over, and that was my passion. I always wanted to, and I never got to bomb kill a bunch of train cars with fillings and stuff. I never did that ever in my life. It was streets to me. So that's why I ask you all these questions, because I wish. How did it feel? Like the adrenaline, like. I know how it is street bombing, but the trains, that was my passion. I never got to do it, bro. It sucks for me.
No, you know what? It's all according to where that you grew up. Like I passed through a few different eras. I understand the different eras. I went from to the highways, freights, like freights. I got down a Bush terminal in Brooklyn and kill the freight. Go to the one Boulevard. Like, to me, it was like if we couldn't do a subway, at least it's on. I mean, so now when I do a freight, it's like medicine. When I was sick, there's a crew in Arizona called the NG shop. Was Mondo, Fight, and my boy Lalo, and Zokes, and S. These guys, and my boy Paper, rest in peace. These guys got the guys, and these guys were old school Arizona freight riders. I mean, and they took liking to me. Right, and I paint to listen with these guys, and they know their history. You'd be surprised. They know their history, and they respect history. They're a part of Arizona. They've been doing 25 years here, and when you go to different world, you realize it's a worldwide movement, it's not a New York movement anymore. Every area.
Yeah, now it's in movies, it's in fucking commercials, it's everywhere. Like they try to commercialize it and make money off of it now. Everybody else besides, the people that really started it, and that, they don't get no type of recognition for the shit.
Yeah, it's what? Even if it's a commercial for fucking, as long as it's out there, I try to explain. Like, I'm not. Tomorrow, it's just that the one man. He sells 50 That's good for all of us. Stop jealousy, man. Stop the bullshit. This is about even the culture, history. Even though hip hop is a facet of graffiti, it's not an end all. Graffiti was before and then hip hop and part of hip hop. And I went up before it, after lived through it, and I respect it. Oh, sorry, you hip hop, yeah, the facet. Like if you ask.
You're chopping up. You're chopping up again.
I got no control of this fucking phone, bro.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like graffiti was you ask old timers like is the Wizard Jester, they were like fucking Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and shit. They weren't listening to hip hop. There was no hip hop in 1974. You know what I mean? It was like the Temptation, you know what I mean? Rhythm and blues and then early disco. I lived it all. I liked it all. I liked rock and roll and my Led Zeppelin, but I love the fucking disco shit too. There before the grace of God and fucking Mandalay. I lived in the disco. My thing.
So
graffiti and music always go hand in hand. Whatever generation you grew up.
Yeah, in my era was the hip hop, obviously, in the 90s and shit.
Hell yeah.
But so people could hit your Instagram to buy get merchandise off of you, canvases, stickers, all of that.
Whatever. Sometimes I got hats going, sometimes I got shirts going. I try to draw and paint, every week. Try to produce some stuff, and nostalgia purposes, people want it, and when it's a collector or a gallery. They're going to pay gallery prices and collector prices. I can't tell you how many times I get in the mail to people for free because they're just some young guy that it's not all about the money. It's about the movement. It's about it's about what I believe in. I gave away more of my shit than I that. Graffiti was free. It was a living, breathing thing that we wrote on trays, and it was in your face if you like it.
Yo, so before we get off this, do you have anything else you want to tell the fans or any shout out you want to give?
Yeah, be true to yourself. Respect this game. When I was coming up, if you didn't respect the game, there were guys that would check you and straighten you out and tell you, just went over who? What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Back in your fucking head, but this was something that was dedication, risk. You had a lot to lose, and we were considered freaks. Like today, it's like cool. Hey, I'm a writer. Back in the day, man, it was like the closet thing. Like, yeah, oh, you're a fucking weirdo. Girls thought you were a fucking. You're supposed to be out in disco, and you're the fucking weed. Waiting for the work bums to finish sweeping the train so you can go into the yard and paint your name up. Like, why would you put so much energy into something that was going to give you anything back? It was an addiction, a passion. Just be true to it. Respect it. And, don't ever think you're a fucking hard ass and you're going to go over everybody, and that fucking cap bullshit mentality. Respect your fellow writers, man. And be part of something that's bigger than you.
That's a fact.
Be part of something. Because this thing's going to go on. People thought it was going to die. Still here. Still going. But anybody, I try to make time on my Instagram. You can always inbox me. I welcome all inboxes. And, if people want a piece of history, I'm more than happy. Make that shit happen. I'm in the gap now. I don't have a big head. Believe me, to me, it's about perpetuating what we all believe in, and it's good for all of us. So if I can be an ambassador and teach my country, I'm not burnt out like a lot of my brothers. I hate to say that. True. My brain's is still, even though I'm older, I went through a lot of generations, and almost 46 years later, I still paint train.
That's why we salute you, my brother. And we really, really thank you for sharing your story on Graff Champs, bro. It was an honor to talk to you, bro, for real.
I appreciate
God bless everything you do, bro. I'm going to hit you up because I want to get one of the maps off of you, too, bro. I need that for my collection.
You got it, bro.
SAR TMB, yo, legend.